Greetings. This is Fabian Stennett. Welcome to Anorak TV, and we are about to start a new series, which is known as the historical revisit. Let's say that. Let's call it that for right now. But what we're going to do is take a deeper look into some of the history of Upper St. James and the entire Jamaica. And tonight, we want to talk a little about the topography of Cornwall, the Cornwall that is, so to speak. So we are going to talk about the topography of the county of Cornwall, but we are going to focus mainly on the whole geographical area where Kojo fought the 1738-39 Maroon War. That's the one that lasted from 1695 to 1738-39. And the continual battle, that is the battle that ensued after, which was the Second Maroon War of 1795, which was led by Johnson and Montague and all those great revolutionary, and of course the Stand-Up Rebellion. But the main focus will be the Samuel Sharp Rebellion. Ascending a hilly terrain at Johns Hall, a suburban settlement on the outskirts 6 miles from Montego Bay, St. James, a secondary roadway serves like a conduit from Montego Bay to Mandeville in Manchester, commanding the extensive panoramic landscape of the Montego River Valley, which spreads out to the fringes of the North Coast sea line. Continuing, the route traverses the Saddleback Plateau of the Springfield to Kensington locality until it enters into the cockpit region. The scene is breathtaking, and the poetic mind is stirred to inquire. Have you ever climbed a mountain and surveyed the world so proud of a cloud? And this is a poem that was written by, I don't know who, Anonymous, of the Montego Valley, pregnant with unidentified historical sites of building, ruins, homestead, demolished sugar estates, tombs, and legendary cotton trees, all embracing the early heritage of the English colonization period and not unlikely a few forgotten and unknown Spanish colonial sites prior to 1815. The early years of the global declining effort of Spain to stabilize her colonial hold and influence in the Caribbean, because the French under Napoleon Bonaparte having been annihilated, it was impossible for her Spanish alliance and expansion effect in the West Indies. I repeat, it was impossible for Spanish alliance and the expansion to be effected in the West Indies. At the backdrop of the elevated wooded upland, the interred section or the interland offers a cockpit-like terrain adjacent to the Springfield district. The unidentified site of the habitat or historical section pertaining to the Spanish colonial settlement in Western Jamaica. Also, there are historic sites of the Second Maroon War of 1796, 1798. And according to this document, it is saying 1796 to 1798, but the Second Maroon War actually ensues between 1795 to 1796, and Jamaica final slave rebellion 1831 to 1832. Some of these sites include the community of Windsor Lodge, Lewisham, Salters Hill, Amity Hall, Whitechapel, all of which figured militantly in the slave rebellion of 1831, 1832. Across the lower defiles are the historic elevation of Palmyra and Rose Hall, which still retain curious and curling tales of Annie Palmer, the White Witch of Rose Hall. A few unidentified sites like Spanish Trail, which once led the New Man Hall Woodland, still a few unidentified sites like Spanish Trails, which led into the Newman Hall Woodland, still retain features of stones which oral tradition claim Mantica Bahia, now known as Montego Bay, built as a noteworthy port for exporting hog meat or pork. So the original name for Montego Bay was Mantica Bahia because it was one of the key points where hog meat or pork was exported from Jamaica, especially to lords in England. And you know the thing what they call lard was like a butter where they use to grease thin sheet of bacon and something there. It was called lard because it was a product that was defined from burning or melting the pig fat, as it was a favorite amongst the common people of England that was residing in lords at that time during the course of history. During 1509, the Spaniards introduced sugarcane from Barbados into Jamaica. Its phenomenal growth and the expansion of the sugarcane industry made the introduction of slave labor a necessary imperative. In due course, sugar in due course, sugar estates and factories dotted the landscape. And in that temper, the flaming torch of Kensington attempts to describe a setting so entwined with many and varied aspects which have been woven into the fabric of Jamaica's cultural heritage, its natural scenes of landscape and gullies, and its religious background. The author, Dan Carter Henry, who of course is now deceased, then further went on to state that he had the opportunity to visit and to make inquiry in order to identify their historical importance. Among the Kensington Great House, which he introduced to the Jamaican National Heritage Trust in 1986, and were were accepted as important and valuable to ecotourism, which could serve as a motivating source for the economic exposure of the community. The inquiry clarifies the terms which are used interchangeable: Christmas Rebellion, Kensington Rebellion, Slave Rebellion, 1831, 1832, Baptist War, and justifiable the Samuel Sharp Rebellion. The cultural importance and value of the document, the symbol of Jamaica's National Heritage Trust, has been poetically schemed. The towering cotton tree, Seba pechanda, which is the biological name for cotton tree. The towering cotton tree, or Seba pechanda, is one of the silk cotton tree which shaded the slave market, also called slavery, and the slave block was ordered and wrapped in legend and ritual of Jamaica, tying the periods down through the duration of slavery until this century. Of course, the slave market was in the slave market was in Montego Bay, and used to be found. It used to be located on Church Street. I'll pass for a call. So I want live me put me some call here. I want live me put me some call. All right, sister. Okay, bless. Yeah, sorry about that interruption. So to wrap up things, the cultural importance and value of Diego Pimento, the symbol of Jamaica National Heritage Trust, has been poetically schemed. The towering cotton tree, Seba pechanda, is one of the silk cotton trees which shaded the slave market, also called slave ring, and this used to be located on Upper Union Street. I think a church is now being built at that location. Upper Union Street, across from what is known as Overton Plaza, that like across the street. So the actual slave ring is right in front of Overton Plaza, and it's that lot. I don't know if it's a church that's been built there now. That is located before the other plaza where you find the legal aid clinic. Other than wrapped up in legends and ritual of Jamaica, tying the period down to the duration of slavery until this century. Moronage, a derelict aspect within a beggarly society, is given its cultural importance as related to genealogical, geographical, and sociological factors, which serves to entrench it and to fashion it in a militant slave society which passionately produced the dubious route to emancipation and its aftermath, Jamaica's national independence in 1962. Dedicated to Samuel Daddy Sharp, this narrative illuminates Sam Sharp, the man, his vision, his lifestyle, and his resolute nature, which ennobled and emblazoned him to the moment of his execution, and his posthumous empowerment as national hero, his disreputable funeral, and the aftermath of his empty tomb beneath the pulpit of the Birchell Baptist Church in Montego Bay are given typical exposure. And of course, the Birchell Baptist Church used to be in Sam Sharp Square, the same location where you now find the Scotia Bank. The temperament and result of the rebellion and its economic effects through religious educational enterprises, which became a socially unstabilizing element in a new society which was put together by the missionary of the various denominations to produce the architecture, to produce the architecture, the architecture of Jamaica nationhood. English. Is it architecture? It is architecture. So that is the introduction, or the, should I say, the preface. So let's delve into the introduction, a general topography of the country of Cornwall. A general topography of the county of Cornwall is outlined to serve as an appreciation of Jamaica's geological and geographical structure which are responsible for the socio-political pattern of events which constitute the unfolding of Jamaica's national life. In the county of Cornwall, where patterns of events have been affected by atmospheric condition of climates, the area of 1,563 square miles have been subjected to the peculiarity of the weather condition, comprising of the parish of Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. The country is exposed to the cooling atmospheric current of the northwesterly winds, which blows into the direction of Westmoreland, but are prevented by the barriers of islands, which intercept them by the elevated points of the Dolphin Head and Birch Hill ranges on the borderline of Westmoreland and Hanover, resulting in an average annual rainfall of 90 inches and a luscious vegetation growth which covers the elevated region to prevent severe periodic drought. Geologically, the area has been subjected to faulting, which results in a landform particularly peculiar to the parish of Trelawney, St. James, and St. Elizabeth, a typical feature of the cockpit country in a geological landscape of dissected limestone elevation known as karst. Hence, it is referred to as the karst system. In the area, a watershed is formed by an extended geological fault which runs into a nearly north to south direction in most of the named parishes, excluding northern St. James, where the axis of the fault lies in an east to west direction. The coast elevation have been subjected to continual exercise by wind, rain, and solar radiation upon its tertiary limestone and are eroded by running water, rain, chemical atmospheric condition. This last process highly pregnant with carbon dioxide CO2, the condition which disintegrates the limestone content of the exposed rocks and the continual percolation by water and its passage through the soil results in residual high ridges of jagged limestone, of sinkholes and caves, a heritage so common in the cockpit country and its environment, a common heritage of the county of Cornwall to serve as topographical evidence of the geological features which are also found in the settlement of Stonehenge, Ipswich, Muckock, Vansfield, and Maroon Town, St. James. The citizens have a particular common sociological pattern and lifestyle. To the cockpit country, the Akampong Maroons trekked their winding trails and founded a stronghold from which they resisted the attack of the British military force to the magnitude that their boldness became a repulsive menace to the trained British soldier because the call of the cockpit was the Maroons' most weapon, which bounteously, because of ecological features, were beneficent for the survival of the fittest. The hidden waters in underground spaces are some of Jamaica's most famous rivers, which are emitting become A. The Martha Bay in Trelawney, B. The Montego Bay or the Montego and Great River in St. James, and C. The Black River in St. Elizabeth, which makes for a domestic and industrial water supply. The historical Montego River Valley, a fertile confine, has served as a plantation area and a militant hotbed for the supplying notable and the courageous rebel. Coincidentally, the headstream of the Montego River surfaced within a close proximity of the famous Tolocasa Estate site, which served as the beacon site for the initial signal of the Holocaust of the uprising known as the Christmas Rebellion, the Baptist War, the Kensington Rebellion, and now certified as the Samuel Sharp rebellion of 1831 to 1832. The Matabele River in Trelawney meanders as an underground stream through the environs of the cockpit area of Farnsfield St. James, starting initially as the Tanga River in that area and disappearing into the Rota sinkhole, locally referred as Roper sinkhole. Let me repeat. The Matabele River in Trelawney meanders as an underground stream through the environs of the cockpit area of Farnsfield St. James, starting initially as the Tanga River in that area and disappearing into the Rota sink, locally Rota sink. It flows underground and until it finds an outlet at D side. The undulating slopes of the Queen of Spain Valley, 16 miles away in Trelawney, where it emits an upper and main tributary of the Matabele River. The Cabaretta and Black Rivers in the parish of Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth, respectively, flow in a southerly direction. The Black River, with the Wyeth as its tributary, forms a great breakwater which serves as the defensive barrier on two historic occasions. The first during the march of the English expeditionary force to western Jamaica at the time of its capture in 1655. The armies were impeded at the heavy mouth of the Black River by the defensive guard of the Spaniard and Creole at Lacovia, where the colonial militia settled their operational headquarters to receive the military enforcement from Kingston and Port Royal to battle up the entrance to the Black River Valley to prevent the rebels from passing into the port of Manchester. The southerly flow of the Wyeth River in St. Elizabeth, Hector's River in northeastern Chile, the Queen of Spain Valley, and the Montego Valley, respectively, in the parishes of Trelawney, St. James, to occupy a confine where the clouds of discontent gathered. It was in that area of the cockpit country that as early as August 4, 1655, the Spaniards, Africans, and Creoles gathered and relentlessly fought to make it a natural fortress for fugitive slaves and the warring Maroons. Endowed with a keenness of sight, hearing, and preponderance of physical speed, the Maroons utilized those qualities to employ their rude muskets with a relative advantage against those of their sophisticated European colonizers. Their methods of ambush and camouflage quite frequently outstripping those of the invading colonizers. As a sturdy keeper, the Maroons were able to defy attacks for a prolonged period. Their defiance often provided by the gullies, water holes, and caves in the area, which gave them much social, economical, political defense. Documentation of early Jamaican history reveals that the cockpit country has been a silent, natural evidence of its people, the Tainos, the Maroons, the slaves, and the peasants, all retaining a revered inner silence comparable to the deep underground water of the cockpit country, which when stirred up becomes embroiled and vulnerable dangerous because on the hosting of the Spanish national flag by Christopher Columbus and Jamaica's land of wood and water, the, this is land's unbroken pattern of peace was disjointed. This land's unbroken pattern of peace was disjointed, and an untimely period of resistance commenced on May 4, 1494 to ratify the Colombian invasion, but not the Colombian discovery of Jamaica. Thank you, and God bless you all. Remember to hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to Anorak TV here on YouTube. Jamaica Mongrel Dog Association here on YouTube. Gangunjah Nevadye Books here on YouTube. And Gangunjah Nevadye, Jamaica Mongrel Dog Association, Gangunjah Nevadye main page. All 5 pages. Also, and Facebook. I'm on Instagram. You can follow me. I'm on TikTok. You can follow me. I'm on Twitter. You can follow me. And please, please do remember to go in Google and put in the name, the artist name, Gangunjah Nevadye, and download my album, The Serious Chapping, and the EP, Three Sides of a Kind, which is available on all the major platforms that distribute songs. Thank you, and God bless you all. Catch you next time.